Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee with Jesus. I'm Rebecca and today I want to know if you're going through the change. If you are, stick around. Even if you're not, you're going to want to find out what today's all about. Have you ever wanted someone to change something about themselves? Maybe to eat better, make better choices in a relationship, job, being more respectful? Listen, this list can go on for days. I have kids and I'm married and I work with people every day. And I have thoughts all the time of things that I wish they would or wouldn't do. I've even voiced my opinion on some things that I thought that someone should change. I don't know about you, but if someone says you need to change something, it doesn't put a smile on your face and make you reply with, "Oh, thank you. I'm going to start doing that right now." No, it makes you what? Mad, upset. You think, who in the world do you think you are telling me I need to change? Listen, I've got a long list of things that you need to change. Does this sound about right? If so, click the like button. So if this is the case, how do we help someone change for the better? The hard truth is, if someone doesn't want to change, you can't make them. You can't make anyone do something they don't want to do. Now hear me out, because I know there's probably some parents watching who are like, no, if I tell my kids to do something, they're going to do it. There's definitely a line between correction versus being pushy with someone who's not your child. Yes, parents are supposed to teach and train their children, but I'm talking about making your coworker, a friend, your spouse, family member, even a stranger change a personal habit that they've had for years. So what are some examples? Maybe you are married and your spouse, instead of putting their clothes in the dirty hamper, they throw them in front of the basket. Or maybe someone likes to eat chocolate every single day and you can see this is not benefiting their body. Or there's other people who complain about everything. You may even work or have some people that you are friends with who curse and get angry at every little thing. Maybe they don't have good work ethics. They could be overweight, but they don't want to exercise. They judge people, talking behind people's backs, unfaithful, anger problems. So many different things that we can look at other people and think, man, they really need to change that. We notice things that we don't like in others all the time. But if we were to stop and flip sides, what do others see in you? This is a lesson I'm currently working on with my kids right now. I've noticed that they will demand things from others, but they don't want to do the same things in return. Just like the other day, my son was eating his food. He finished all his before his sister. Well, he noticed she still had food left. So what did he do? He reached over there, took one of hers, and ate it. Well, she noticed and got mad and was like, "Why did you eat that? That's mine." And he's like, "You weren't even going to eat it." And she's like, "Yes, I was." Well, what did I hear? "Mom," I asked my son, "Son, think of this from your sister's perspective. You just took her food that she was going to eat. If she took your food, how would you respond?" He was like, "Oh, I would be fine with it." And I'm like, "No, you would not, because this has happened before and you got mad at her." Sometimes we just need to step back and reevaluate things from the other person's perspective. I see this all the time in so many different situations, especially when it comes to like elderly people and their kids trying to take care of them. They can get frustrated and they're like, "Oh, I don't want to do it." And then I think to myself, how would you want your kids to respond when you become the elderly one? We can get into this self mode without even realizing it. We can place so many demands on other people, and if someone asks the very same thing of us, we're not willing to do it ourselves. It kind of ties into the session that we talked about, judging other people, but not wanting to be judged ourselves. I want you guys to go with me to Matthew 7:3-5, though. It says, "And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Let me remove the speck from your eye,' and look at the plank is in your own eye? Hypocrite! First remove the plank from your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." Think about this verse right here. How many times have we done this? We look at the flaws, we look at the imperfections of someone else, and we want to fix their problem and tell them what they should be doing. And when we step back and look at ourselves, there are some things that need to be changed in our own life. Now, I know most of us don't want to hear that we need to change something, but I want you to think of it like this. We have Jesus as our example, and we're supposed to follow and imitate what he does. And if that's the case, then we are supposed to love others. Now, is this always easy? No, because there's some people that are going to upset you. They're going to do some things that are not right to you. This does not mean you have to hang out with them and be best friends. We're supposed to love them, pray for them, and things like that. But it is not our responsibility to transform someone. That's where God comes in. He's the only one that can renew us, that can transform us from the inside out. And if we are the one trying to help transform other people, we're just going to mess them up. Now, the Lord can give us wisdom and guidance to where we can speak into people's lives, but it is not a forceful thing. It is always done with love in a way that people can see that God cares for them. You're not yelling and beating them up, telling them they're a horrible person because they are doing all these things. But when we begin to lead by example, now they see a transformation in us. And so it draws them to want to do those same things. I just recently was taking pictures of these football players, and watching them work out is like an intense thing. Like, I'm okay with working out, but like watching them, I'm like, this is hardcore. I don't, like, your mind's like, whew. But watching them with so much discipline, and no one was out there forcing them to do this. They just went out and knew what they were supposed to be doing, and they started doing it. And you can tell that their body was going to get tired from, doing these moves and stuff, but they persisted. They kept going. And the longer I was there and, photographing and watching this, I noticed, like, I started wanting to do these stretches, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I think I could do that. And so it almost put this encouragement on the inside of me of oh, I can do this too. Okay, maybe exercising is not kind of your go-to thing, but how many times have you maybe went to the movies and watched a race car show or something, and then you left, you got in your car, and now all of a sudden you're thinking you're the race car person, and you want to what? Drive fast. Why? Because you just watched this exciting, intense scene, and so now you're like, oh yeah, I want to do that too. We can get to this state in our spiritual life to where we're excited about doing what God's word says. It's not I can't do this anymore, or, it's not a dreadful thing. It is an exciting thing because you know all of the benefits that are associated with doing what's right. And so it is so awesome, you guys. We can also read in Romans 12:2, where it says, "And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." Oh, this is so good, because this is a daily thing that we have to do. We have to renew this mind every single day. I don't know if you guys noticed a shirt that just came in that I'm so excited about. When I had Kylie Oaks Gatewood on with me the other day, this is one of her shirts, the "Not My Thought," where we put our hand on our head and say that's not our thought. If y'all didn't get to watch that, go back and watch it. I'll leave it in the card up here and in the description. But it's a great reminder that we do not have to take a negative thought and allow it to become our identity. We can take every thought that the enemy tries to throw at us, and because our mind is renewed, we are able to change that thought for the good, and we don't have to allow it any access into our life. So this is an encouraging thing for us this morning to know that by simply renewing our mind, and we do this by meditating on the word day and night, getting into the Bible, reading what it says, having fellowship with the Father every single day begins to renew this mind that we have, and it shifts our perspective. And what happens when our perspective is shifted, we are now going to speak out the right things, because out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Well, it gets on the inside of us, right? By the things that we hear, by the things that we see. We're processing it in our mind. And so now we're forming an opinion or a feeling of a thing. And so that's how we're going to speak about it. So it's vital for us to make sure that we have a renewed mind every single day, which is why we're talking about change. Because a lot of times we want to change, we want to see different things in our life, but we don't know how to do it. And most of the time it's simply because we're relying on ourselves to pursue that change. And it becomes a draining thing to where we get frustrated and we feel like, I haven't accomplished what I want to do. And so we end up giving up. Well, there's hope for you this morning, because we don't have to rely on our own strength. We can rely on our Heavenly Father to be there, to help us, to comfort us, to give us wisdom, so we can pursue in Him the change that we need in our life. So we're drawing on His strength, because the Bible tells us that greater is He that's in us than he that's in the world. So if we have the greater one on the inside of us, that means that we are capable of doing some amazing things that we may have limited ourselves in the past by trying to do it on our own. But we're not going to do that anymore. We're going to renew this mind. We're going to speak out the words that God has placed in front of us, have that fellowship with Him, to where if we don't know what to do in that moment, we say, Lord, you're going to have to give me wisdom, because I do not know what to do right now. And He can give you one creative idea. He can give you, just all this amazing wisdom. It may sound so simple. It may even sound strange to do some things. But when we step out in faith and say, okay, Lord, I trust you. I believe you, because you're the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so I know that you're constant. You're not changing. And so because we know that, we can have that assurance in Him that what His word says is true. And if we apply that word in our life, we will see change take place in our life. And this will lead us to a place to where we're not looking at other people and trying to fix and change everything they're doing. It allows us to put our focus on Him. And so as we draw closer to Him, change starts taking place in our life. And so we become transformed. And so all of those other people that we may have wanted to see changed before, we don't notice those as much because we're not focused on this person and that person. We're focused on our relationship with God. We're moving closer to Him and seeing change take place in us. And because of that, other people are noticing this transformation taking place. And so what happens? They are going to be drawn to do the same thing. It is an amazing thing when you see this transformation take place, because think about it. If there's anything in life that you have ever wanted, and I know we all have wanted some things in life, what do? You are looking for someone who has or has done the very thing that you want, right? So if you want a toned body, you're going to have to watch someone who's already done it so they can show you different workouts. Maybe if you don't know anything about nutrition, you're going to have to listen to someone who knows a lot about nutrition to tell you what you need in your body, what you don't need in your diet. If you need, financial freedom in your life, you're going to need to listen to someone who, is debt-free. Someone who knows how to get to the place that you want to be. So, naturally, we're looking to someone who has the things that we desire. Or maybe we didn't even know we desired it, but we see someone. We look at a lot of times celebrities and we'll be like, ooh, I would love to have that. Or, oh man, that looks so good, right? We didn't know we wanted it until we saw someone else have it, and then we're like, ooh, yeah, I would love to have that. So that's how we can be an example to other people. We're not beating them up, telling them they have to do this, have to change all that. We're simply being the example with our everyday life. How we interact with people, how we discipline ourselves, how we are persistent, how no matter what obstacles are thrown at us, we respond in a way that is completely opposite than the world, and people take notice of that. And they're going to be like, I want that. I didn't even know I wanted that. And so they start pursuing those same things. So it's kind of funny how it works, because instead of now you telling a person they needed to change something, they automatically start changing because you made the choice first to change and be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And you started pursuing a deeper relationship with God. And now it's changing your whole household. It's now changing your whole work environment because of one choice that you made. And that's to lead by example. So you can see change in your life today by simply making the choice to allow God to give you wisdom, to get into the Word, to not rely on yourself, but to rely on Him, to help you to overcome all old habits that you've ever had, all new things that you may have encountered, all situations, all pressure that has been applied to you for years and years. All of that can be a weight lifted off of you because we are now yielding to the Holy Spirit, and His yoke is easy and His burden is light. And so He's lifting that pressure, that stress, that weight, that enablement that we had off of us and saying, I'm empowering you. I am here for you. He's like that coach that we all need, to where He's cheering us on. He's, telling us, keeping us disciplined to be able to keep going no matter what. So I hope this encouraged you guys this morning. Make sure you stay tuned, because at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be announcing the winner of the giveaways that you guys are supposed to comment and subscribe last week. All you had to do to enter was make sure you were subscribed. If you were already subscribed, you commented, congratulations. If you just subscribed, you commented, excited. And if you wanted to be entered in twice, you just had to share last week's video. So you can still do that. There's still time, because 10 o'clock today, I am going to be announcing those winner. I'm doing the cutoff time at 9 though. So you have until 9 a.m. today to be entered in for the drawings. So I can't wait to share the winners with you. It will be live on Facebook. So join me so you can possibly win. I love all of you guys, and I'll see you next week.